young people session. I think it was a mistake. I am very glad also because my paper is in some way strictly connected to some of the things that Maria said before, and in some way I consider my paper as an empirical appendix of her. It is not true completely. Anyway, this is, I have to apologize to Vincenzo, my discussant, because I didn't give him the paper. I gave him an old version, and so I'm sorry, and I hope that the discussion will be fruitful all the same. And this is the summary of what I'm going to do, which is, first of all, speak about the different estimates of potential output, the empirical estimates of potential output that we can find in literature. And I distinguish two broad categories, of course I cannot, but I focus my attention on current estimates, but I make a comparison with Okun's estimates of the 60s, which are based on Keynesian theory. So my point is that the empirical estimates of potential output vary very much according to the underlying theory. I will distinguish the two main kind of estimates that are currently to be found in empirical literature, which is also policy. The statistical filters based on the real business cycle theories and the production function approach, which is based mostly on a naive model. I will also try to sketch some consideration about the other two aspects of my work, which are a bit newer. The relationship between actual output and potential output in event-like growth theories. I will try to make some reflection about the way in which we could consistently and convincingly measure potential output in case we need this concept. And in this context, I will try some reflection which are more demand questions for the audience than fully analyzed points about the relationship between output and inflation. So I try to be, well, this is just to show you the famous Okun estimate. It is a picture which is taken by the original article of the Polish Foundation on 61. The only thing that I want to notice here, of course, the linear, the line is the potential gross national product as Okun estimated it after having smoothed the series, which is the lighter one. While actual output is the underlying series. So what we can notice, the thing that I consider as important here, the things are two. The first is that you can observe quite a short period of estimation. And I think that this is a relevant, historically short period. This is a relevant characteristic of this estimate. And the second is that there is no symmetry, but there is the tendency of actual output to be below, apart from a single period, to be below potential output. So, more in general, the characteristics of Okun's estimates are the following. Potential output is defined as full employment output in the Keynesian sense, but since there is the idea that it is impossible to reach the full employment output in a technical sense with zero unemployment, there is the arbitrary exogenous definition of an unemployment rate which is considered as non-inflationary. This 4% that Okun uses in is an exotic arbitrary number. This is considered as regularly the inferior limit, the floor of the actual employment rate. In no way is to be considered as an average. Sometimes, but very exceptionally, it can be surpassed, but it gives rise to inflation. When unemployment is above 4%, so when it is above the floor, there is no particular hypothesis about inflation. Actually, inflation is not used in this estimate, in the estimate of potential output by output, apart from this consideration that there must exist a minimum non-inflationary employment rate. Then, to arrive at the estimate of potential output as it is known, output law is used, which is a relationship between the output gap and the unemployment gap, and the series is obtained, and it can be smoothed as we saw before. But what is relevant is that potential output is explicitly defined as a short period concept, which can be defined quantitatively. I mean, when I say defined, I mean in the sense of measurable at least. It can be defined only once equipment, technique, stock, or labor are given. One of the considerations, which I found very interesting in August's paper, is that when actual output diverges from a number of periods from potential, this gives rise to a change, to a possible change in the growth of potential. We observe a period of very low growth of actual output with respect to potential output, and the hypothesis assumes that this is the motive why, the reason why in the next period potential output shows a smaller rate of growth.
Excuse me, the graph before, on the vertical axis, was it in logarithms or in absolute?
I think it was in logarithms, yes. Sorry, I didn't put it, I have to check what it is. Okay, so, and the last point is that output gaps, as I noted before, are not symmetrical. Now I show you, and this is only just one example, two graphs taken by one of the papers of the authors of the International Monetary Fund. No, this is, sorry, OECD, who, as all economic institutions, try to estimate the potential output with the current empirical method. And you can find in this graph, although it is not very clear, I hope that the general meaning is clear to grasp. You can find the comparison of various methods of estimating the potential output. And especially, you can find both methods that we are going to analyze so briefly. There is, and the lines are almost undistinguishable. They are almost the same. And one is the potential output, which is estimated through an Aldrich-Prescott filter, and the other one is a potential output as estimated through the production function approach. So we will return to this graph later, but it's better to see very quickly the difference between the empirical result,